Okay, Man of Steel, the first film in the DCEU, or in its full name, the DC Extended Universe. It's directed by Zack Snyder and it stars Henry Cavill as Superman, or in how this movie always refers to him, Kal-El. Does this movie ever refer to him as Superman? I think it does once at the end, but let's okay. Let's talk about this movie, shall we? It's so basically it's an origin story of Superman, but told in a more dramatic and gritty fashion. So what did I think about Man of Steel? I actually really like this movie quite a bit. It's one of Zack Snyder's best movies. Now, for those of you who may think I'm a Zack Snyder hater after reviewing the Rebel Moon movies, Zack Snyder can make good movies. He's made lots of them. Like 300, Dawn of the Dead, Watchmen. Watchmen's my favorite movie of his. Legend of the Guardians. All those are good movies, and so is this one. Zack Snyder, I thought handled Superman extremely well with this film. Um, I thought the dark and gritty tone worked for the movie, especially when it comes to like the moral dilemmas that Superman faces in this movie. We're like facing disapproval from his dad for like showing his powers and whether or not he should let people live or die. Or spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Man of Steel, at the end when he has to kill, if he has the choice to either let Zod kill this family or or if he should kill Zod. Like it's all these moral dilemmas in this movie that I thought really made this movie stand out among other Superman movies. Like if you don't like Superman being like this Boy Scout kind of guy that's just perfect, you'll love Man of Steel. But also, another thing that makes Man of Steel great is the action and the visuals. This is easily the most action-packed Superman movie ever made, and also all of the action is fucking intense and exciting. There's lots of destruction in this movie too. It almost makes you think it would be a Michael Bay movie with all of this destruction. But yeah, this movie is fun. Like yeah, it has a more of a, like a downer kind of tone, but when it comes to the action, this movie's fun. Really fun. It was always fun watching Superman kick the asses of all these Kryptonians that are after him that are led by Zod. It's just fucking amazing to watch and the visuals really help it out because this movie is visually stunning. Espe- Probably the most visually stunning part of the movie is the opening scene when it's taking place on Krypton. It almost looked like I was watching Avatar. Like the visuals were very reminiscent of Avatar in a lot of ways, and I thought it was extremely well done. And like seeing all the shit happening as Krypton is about to get destroyed, it was pretty awesome to see. It's a ton of fun, but it's also emotionally satisfying. That's another thing about Man of Steel I really liked. It's very emotionally satisfying in certain aspects. Um, but also, let's talk about Henry Cavill as Superman. This is the best he's ever been in the role. I love Henry Cavill as Superman. We'll talk about his performance in Batman v Superman. But then when it comes to like him playing a Superman here and in the Snyder cut, it's fucking awesome. We'll talk about the Snyder cut in a little bit. I got a lot of movies to get through before we review that. But yeah, spoiler alert, Superman, Henry Cavill was great in that too. And he was great in this as well. Yeah, I thought he was great in the role. I thought he really did a really nice take on the character. Well, I wish he. I kind of wish Henry Cavill could have gotten more to do with Superman, like in this franchise. But what we did get with him, I thought was great for the most part. Uh, Now let's talk about what else can I talk about? Oh yeah, the tone. I actually really like the tone of this movie. Yeah, it's a lot grittier than other Superman movies. It's a lot darker, but it's not in a way where it's like, okay, come on, lighten things up. No, it's got a nice tone, very nice. I thought it was perfect for this kind of a movie. And then there's some scenes where I almost thought it was going to turn into a horror movie too. Like there's this one scene where like okay, they're at the Kent farm, and then all of a sudden Zod fucking takes over a television broadcast, and the way that scene is done, it's done in a very ominous, almost spooky like tone. And I thought it was going to turn into a horror movie. I thought that scene was done beautifully. There's a lot of great shit in this movie when it comes to its tone. And yeah, the story was perfectly compelling too. Like, yeah, it's the origin of Superman, but just in the way that it's done, it felt kind of fresh. Okay, so now that I've talked about the stuff I like about this movie, there are some issues I have with Man of Steel. Let's see. Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I love Amy Adams as an actress. I did not like her as Lois Lane though. I never did. In every one of these movies, I never liked Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I thought her performance was very wooden, and I didn't think she had very good chemistry with Henry Cavill. I know some people might disagree with me on that, but when it came to their chemistry, I never felt it. It never felt natural. It just seemed like they didn't really care about each other too much, even though the movie's trying to make us think that they do. It's just a gripe I've had with all of these movies that feature Lois Lane with Amy Adams. It's not. I didn't care. I never cared for this aspect of the Snyderverse. And also, this movie's pacing is a little weird. Like there's times where like this movie is just going at lightning speed, very fast paced. And then there's other times where I felt like the movie kind of grinds to a halt. It doesn't happen very often, but I just think that the pacing of this movie was very inconsistent at times. Other than that, Man of Steel is a great Superman movie. I really enjoy it. It's definitely one of the best films in this franchise. There are better movies, in my opinion, but when it comes to like just the overall quality of the DCEU and how just wildly inconsistent it is, this is one of the best ones because of the action, the visuals, Henry Cavill, the fucking story, all of that really works. And when it comes to like just the couple of flaws that I have with this movie, all of that completely overrides that. Man of Steel is a very enjoyable superhero film. Zack Snyder actually did a good job with this one. Like I said, I will call Zack Snyder out when he makes something that's fucking awful, like those Rebel Moon movies, but when he makes something good, like this, I will also praise him for it. You know? When you're being a critic, you can't be too biased. Like you gotta acknowledge when a director makes something good, and you also gotta acknowledge when he makes something bad. I'm not a Zack Snyder hater, so save your comments about that. Okay? Okay. Let's get to the rating for Man of Steel, shall we? I am going to give Man of Steel an A minus.